Welcome into KSO Postgame Live. Mason Voth, KSU fan, Drew Galloway, coming to you for just the third K-State Big 12 win of the season. And what a day it was for K-State. They went on a 21-0 run at one point in the second half, but that was not good enough to make this an unlosable game for them. They tried to give this thing away in a number of ways at the end, but West Virginia couldn't get the job done. And ultimately, K-State comes away with a 65-63 win that K-State didn't necessarily need it. West Virginia certainly did if they thought that they were going to have any chance of making the NCAA tournament. But now their late surge in the season is going to be all for naught because you cannot lose to this K-State team if you want to make the NCAA tournament, and West Virginia looks like they are not going to be able to do that. I want to point out as we get started, obviously K-State was better in all areas shooting the basketball tonight, but it probably brings a special note to fan that K-State shot more free throws than West Virginia in this game, and obviously that is a big part of the story this evening is that K-State goes 19 of 25 at the line, and West Virginia only manages 9 makes on 16 attempts.
Yeah, that was something that we've talked about with this team all season long is that the inability to get to the free throw line, especially in games in Big 12 play. They were last in the league in free throw rate coming into this game, and I think this will be one of K-State's better free throw rates of the season. Something that I did not expect to see in this game because West Virginia is not a team that fouls a lot. I think this would be K-State's second best free throw rate of the season, 51%. So they got there. They made a decent amount. It's just such a weird swing. K-State was up 19 with 7 minutes and 7.5 minutes left in the game. Gives up a 20-4 run after going on a 21-0 run themselves. I don't know if I've seen 2 runs like that in the same half, opposite runs like that in the same half. So K-State gets a win. I mean, at the end of the day, it's meaningless, but it was fun during that stretch to see K-State playing well. The ball was moving. They're getting the ball inside. Kamari McGriff was just tearing West Virginia up. Nate Johnson was playing well. So some of those were nice aspects to see, and it's fun to see one more win and avoid being the most futile conference winning percentage in the modern era. This is going to beat the 2000 team now, barely, and tie, most likely tie with the 21 team. 21 team. So you'll take that for what it's worth, but now you're just looking for what's going to happen next.
The fireworks there were like,
I like that.
I think it's double thumbs up. There you go.
I'll throw into fans' initial point about free throw rate. K-State has had a higher free throw rate than a Big 12 team 2 times this season. Do you think it's a coincidence that they won both of those 2 games? Because the only other game was against Utah. So getting to the free throw line is a big deal. I didn't think that we were going to see a stretch where K-State could outscore somebody the way that they did in that 6 to 8 minute stretch where it got to a 21-0 run. It's never great when this is game 30 and they say that this is the longest run that K-State has had since the opening game of the season, which was only 15-0 against UNC Greensboro. It's also impressive that K-State beat Mississippi Valley State by 100, but didn't have more than a 15-0 run in that game. But it's fun to win. It's pretty meaningless at the end of the day.
I just got to add, Mississippi Valley State won 2 out of 3 the last week.
They are one of the hottest teams in the country. But we talked about this before we started recording. We've talked about this in the group chat. I would be unbelievably mad if I was a West Virginia fan after this game. You're on the road against a terrible team without one of the best scorers in the entire country, with your season on the line because you're back on the bubble after beating BYU, and you were down 18 with 10 minutes to go to K-State. So yeah, unbelievable. One of the funniest wins I think that K-State's had in a long time.
Yeah, only thing that could have made it better is if West Virginia was like a little bit of a better team, because they're above 500 and they were kind of on the NCAA tournament, but like we can look at them and we know they're a bad basketball team. You know, Arizona just went 9-4 in college football this past year, and I could tell you that Arizona was not a good football team. We have the eye test.
We talked about West Virginia earlier in the day about like
and UCF, by the way,
NCAA tournament expansion. Like they are the prime anti-NCAA tournament expansion candidate.
Yeah. Yes. And we talked about UCF earlier today, and they, of course, lost at home to Oklahoma State tonight. So another not so good loss for the Knights on their way to an NCAA tournament appearance, where they're basically a lock at this point, even though they're going to have some really dumb things down the stretch. But this game, obviously, one of the headlines in it is that PJ Hagerty did not play tonight, which immediately most people would probably go to and think, this thing's going to be over. How does K-State win without him? Which in a lot of circumstances, that's probably the right way to think about this. But there is also enough idea out there, and I've talked about it at times, that I don't think PJ Hagerty is necessarily conducive to winning at this high of a level as your best player because of the way that he plays. He's no doubt talented, but we kind of saw tonight that, look, K-State's a bad team. West Virginia's not good, but West Virginia is still a few strides ahead of where K-State is. Like they should have won this game tonight, whether Hagerty played or not. But for whatever reason, it worked tonight for K-State. And there is something to how a team plays when the ball isn't sticking with one guy so much. And that is how PJ Hagerty has to play, is that the ball has to be in his hands, because he's not going to make or take a lot of threes. And so he's going to have to be able to kind of drive and draw fouls or finish at the rim and do some things to move with the ball. Tonight, the sole focus was just trying to find the best look, which not easy to come by when you shoot 30% from three and CJ Jones is jacking a bunch of them for you. But ultimately, K-State found a way tonight. So I'm not saying that they won this game because PJ Hagerty didn't play, but I do find it to be pretty interesting that it worked out that way tonight, that they get just their third win of conference play. And by far the best team that they've beaten this season with this win against West Virginia, and it comes with PJ Hagerty sitting on the bench.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive the way Nate Johnson stepped up at I think you saw that he's not a true point guard down the stretch when K-State was turning the ball over and the score pressure got to him. But he again had a game that was so close to that first ever triple-double for K-State with 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. So on the verge, close to it. K-State still hasn't got there, but he was close. And then Kamari McGriff, really good game, 18 points, 6 of 9 from the floor, 7 rebounds. So you have a really good big two. CJ Jones, 2 of 6 from 3. You know, he may have pushed that season average right at 20%, trying to not become the first K-State player to take 2 threes a game and finish below 20% from 3 in a season. CJ Jones, Tajman had some moments as well.
Real quick, CJ Jones played nearly the whole game tonight, a game that K-State wins, which means they scored more than their opponent. CJ Jones finished -3 on the plus-minus tonight. And once again, it looked like it out there. By the way, Andre Kostic +6 in his 17 minutes on the floor, which he did not play enough. And then Elias Rapiak and Doreen Buka, guys that I think tried to play, something there to them not being able to go. Obviously, they've both battled injuries this season. So they played a combined 7 minutes, and they both had negative plus-minuses, which, you know, if the two hurt guys can't go more than 4 minutes, they're probably going to hurt you when they're on the floor. And that honestly makes what happened tonight for K-State all that much more impressive for these players, is that K-State went out there and they won this game with only 6 available guys, basically. And again, 6 guys that not many of them you look at and go, oh yeah, that's somebody that somebody else out there would want on their Big 12 basketball team. And they found a way to do it against a team that should have been desperate and hungry and dying to get a win tonight. So like we've talked about, I don't put a lot or try to blame the players anymore with how this season has unfolded or the last couple of years. It's very clear it is not on them. The adults leading the program were the ones massively in the wrong, and we saw that by some of the things that almost led to K-State giving this game away. But these players deserve a lot of credit and love for what they were able to accomplish tonight in winning this game, because this team could have easily just packed it up halfway through the year when it was clear that they sucked. They could have packed it up once their head coach got fired, regardless of how they felt about Jerome Tang. But you just go, oh, well, we don't even have a head coach anymore. So, like, what's the point? And they haven't done that. They've battled, they've busted it. And again, they're a bad team, so they've lost games late. They've let games get away from them in the final 8 minutes, but they've never really stopped. And since Matthew Driscoll's come into the fold, they've really battled with about anybody that's gone up against them. And tonight it resulted in a win that the players deserved and the fans should be grateful for.
They did. I mean, they played their butts off, especially in the second half. I mean, they deserve this win for how they came out and attacked the second half, because that first half was up there with like the worst basketball I've seen at any level. But played with a lot of energy, played with a lot of heart. I mean, they don't win this game without Kamari McGriff like acting like a man possessed to begin the second half. I mean, he was everywhere on both ends of the floor, and it was fun to see. And this team is not very good, but they still deserve like the good things that happen, and don't deserve the the moments where it's like, oh, they're about to blow an 18-point lead with 10 minutes to go. Like they did enough to win. Obviously, it changes 0 for the outcome of the year, but it was fun to win again and to beat a team that is legitimately okay. Like Baylor and Utah, I think, are like terrible. West Virginia has at least some decent wins on the season, but also like just absolute head scratchers. Like West Virginia going to be responsible for 2 of the 5 wins in Big 12 play combined between K-State and Utah. And also had a rough non-conference loss, but has like beat KU this year, beat BYU, which BYU, I'm watching you without Richie Saunders. You might be in fraud territory.
Feels like it. I mean, they're getting beat still by Cincinnati, I believe, right? So it does seem like that's probably a reasonable tag to throw on them. Ron said, does this win put us back on the bubble to make the Crown field? So we go to our resident Crown bracketologist, KSU fan, for his thoughts on K-State's Crown chances.
You never know with the way these Crown choices happen, but I think this would be like last year when K-State would decline the Crown bid or give it a gap line, because you never know how low the Crown's going to have to dip to find teams, especially in this age. Like, this was when I got to the game, I posted it in the thread on the game thread, that this was the first time in my life I've gone to a K-State game and I thought, I may never see any of these players play for K-State again. Every player on this floor could be gone next year. Probably most likely will be gone next year. And that's weird. Usually you come to this game and you're like, man, I'm going to miss seeing these 3 seniors. Now I'm not going to see any of these guys ever play again, more than likely. So, especially with the coaching change, that's kind of odd. So, but watch out for the Crown, because you could become next year's Nebraska if you look.
Yeah, that's a good point. Teams are hot when they go there. I'm sure Oklahoma State made the weird choice last year. They played in the NIT instead of the Crown. So I guess maybe that's a possibility there. The Crown doesn't care what your record is, though. They're just like,
I'll throw out who next year's Nebraska could be because they play in the Crown. It's a team that's really hot right now, Cincinnati.
Yeah, they would love that.
They
Bring
would
Wes
play in the
Miller back.
Crown. I mean, if they keep winning, why would you let him go?
Yeah, Wes Miller, Bobby Hurley, and Tad Boyle all with job-saving performances so far. Although KU has started the second half on a 10-2 run, so they've trimmed the lead down to 12 for ASU at the under 16. Oh, and Utah's clawed back within 11 against Colorado with 7 minutes left.
You also have to enjoy tonight because if K-State goes to Allen Fieldhouse on KU Senior Day where they're like 100-0 after getting embarrassed by Arizona State in a game where Bill Self got ejected, like it could get ugly.
Yeah, don't look ahead too much because obviously there's a butt kicking waiting for K-State on Saturday in Lawrence. But on Tuesday, it's looking more and more likely that they're going to have to play BYU in the first game of the Big 12 tournament. And look, BYU is clearly slumping right now without Richie Saunders, but they're still worlds ahead of where K-State is. Also a team struggling. They would probably be pretty motivated. We know that the BYU fan base shows up pretty well. I don't think things would go well there for K-State. And really, K-State's in kind of this weird spot right now where the Big 12 is such a mess that in all likelihood, they're not going to get to play a team that you would feel decent about their chances of beating because like TCU, who they've played close this year, is won tonight in Lubbock, so they've bumped up a little bit. Now, I will say if Cincinnati and there's a scenario where, depending on what happens with Cincinnati and BYU, that K-State could play West Virginia again next Tuesday, which based off what we've seen in the two games this year, you probably would sign up for that if you're a K-State fan. But again, none of that really matters. It's just we're watching probably the last two games in the next week for this K-State team. But it's basketball. We all love the Big 12 tournament, so we'll embrace it and go from there. Anything else that you need to add from tonight's game, Drew? Because, we've spent all season just having to kind of build out what's coming next year. And I can only say so many times that I think Andre Kostic should be playing more and that I don't think he was played enough tonight. So do you have anything that you want to enlighten the folks with?
We haven't talked about him much tonight, but he played a pivotal role in like how K-State still won the game. Taj Manning continues to bring it every night and play really hard. I mean, K-State does not win without that offensive rebound he had and kick out to Nate Johnson for a three, because K-State at that point had scored like 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and the lead had gotten all the way down to, I believe it was 6 before that shot. And then they also don't win if he doesn't get that steal when West Virginia was on a break when the game was like 5, when it was a 5-point game or so. So he continues to bring it every night. He is not good enough to play the amount of minutes that he is currently playing on this role on this current team. But continues to be somebody that if he would want to come back and kind of be that energy guy off the bench for the new coach, I wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah, I think you say good points about Josh. He played really well. Yeah, I'll just say this because I was watching it when he was in the game. Andre Kostic, when he was in, he was guarding Tracy Staff. He went 3 from 8. And I thought he played pretty good defense. I thought the run of him being the worst defender, I think it's still, he's not great at it, but I agree with you. It's mind-numbing how minutes Kostic gets. He comes in and just nails 2 threes. It seems like every game he's been playing. Drew, you pointed out during the game he was up to over 40% from 3 in Big 12 play. It's 2 for 5, so he stayed right at 30% for the game. So, yeah, he's a guy that if the next guy comes in and likes Euros, he's a guy you might bring back. But again, I don't I have no expectation of any of these guys coming back. The other one would be Taj, just to be the next 4-year K-State player or 5-year K-State player in our lifetime. We may never see that again, so that would be
Yeah, I think on the Kostic thing, his defense very much overstated by the coaches how bad it was. Like, we watched this team all year. They were not good on defense. So we were able to go, well, okay, if he's not playing because his defense is bad, like, it can't be that much worse than these other guys. And we're seeing the offensive upside that can be provided. But then also what you're saying about tonight, Fan, is him going out there and actually – showing maybe some strides. It's like even more evidence of why he should have been played earlier in the year, because let him learn against Mississippi Valley State and UNC Greensboro and all of these teams on how to play defense. So then maybe you can trust him a little bit more. And I like, he's clearly not the type of player that's going to be a great defender ever. But I also think so much of it was like he just needed that game experience to learn what defense is supposed to be like in this game, because it is different from certainly the professional level, but I'm sure the professional level that he's playing in over there, where it's probably just like glorified JUCO ball, where we're running up and down the floor hoping we either get a dunk or a three in the first 8 seconds of the shot clock. And I think, because there are times tonight where the way he sees the game and his vision, I can tell that it's different than the guys he's playing with. Like, there was that loose ball that instead of him picking it up tonight, his expectation was that somebody else was going to grab it and fling it out ahead to him. And, maybe he should have just taken what he could get there. But I think that to me was a point of evidence. And like, I said at one point during the game that this is kind of the story of the last 3 years for this program, is that the coaching staff spends a ton of money on bringing in certain players, and they either end up not liking the guy and just putting him in the doghouse for an arbitrary reason, or they didn't do their homework at all on him and they get something that in their surprise, like, oh, well, crap, I don't think that we can play this guy because he doesn't do this. It's like, well, you recruited him, so you should know that he sucks off the floor, or you should know that he's not going to play defense, or he needs time to kind of catch up. And like I'm a big believer in, I think sports and really a lot of things, the best way to learn how to do something is just by getting out there and doing it. It's like being a parent. I had zero training on that before I had a kid, and then they cut her out and they just hand her to me, and I'm holding her there for 40 minutes while they're like, okay, we're going to take you back to the room. It's like, I have never held a baby this fresh in my life, and it's just like, it's yours now. Figure it out. And it's worked out well so far. Both kids still alive, even though we had that close call the one time the one stuck a battery in their mouth. But we made it. We made it through that. So, like, to me, it's just like a lot of things. K-State should have bit the bullet and let Andre Kostic learn, like, on the job, and they didn't. And they thought that for some reason just sitting on the bench playing defense against this crappy offense in practice was going to be enough for him to learn it. And so people think of me as the guy that just likes to dump on the staff and everything. I would like to not be that guy, but they were obviously so bad at their job, and they're keep being major reminders of things that I think that they did poorly, and certainly the way that they handled a lot of their prized possessions that they added in the off seasons. It shows up with a guy like Andre Kostic.
Yeah, he is like the highlight of their failures. I mean, I posted about it, Fan talked about it. Like, he's shooting over 40% in Big 12 play from three. Nobody would probably guess this because he doesn't play as many minutes, but he has a much better offensive rating than David Castillo, who everybody seems to want to keep among the fans. Like that is something that, like, he can be a really, really good player next season if he learns how to play just a little bit more defense, gets a little bit more athletic. Like, you can see it because he can shoot the ball with the best of them. So he would be probably the one player that I would really push to really keep I wouldn't mind having Taj Manning back in a lesser role, but I would really try and keep Andre Kostic going forward, because it is not very often at K-State where you have somebody that can shoot 40% from three and make it look as easy as he does.
Is there a chance that we think K-State can like lie to him and just hope that he doesn't know enough about the college basketball experience in the U.S. to be like, oh, no, that transfer portal thing only for American players? I don't know what you tell him, but I am open for K-State lying to him to try to bring him back next year if he has any thought that he should leave. The big bad man, Jerome Tang, cannot hurt you anymore, Andre. K-State will bring you back with open arms. But yeah, I would love to see him back because I think there's something there. Again, like I tell the story, Brad Underwood told me to my face at a golf tournament in Wichita this past summer that Andre Kostic was going to be, his words, a phenomenal player. Like Brad Underwood's killing it, not just in terms of college basketball, but his international recruiting success. So like that is a valued opinion, especially for K-State fans, that I think you should take. Like if a coach like that sees that in Andre Kostic, I don't think you want to let that leave and there be untapped potential there. Now, if Kostic decides that this experience was so bad that he wants to get out of town and he wants to go, back to playing professional ball in Europe, that's totally fine. But if he's playing college basketball next year, I would like to see that chance be taken at K-State again, and it'll be up to the next head coach to do it. But I think there are a lot of coaches that could come in, and if they do their homework on Andre Kostic, would see something and really like what they see.
Yeah, just for the record, conference play only, he leads the team at 40.8% from three. Next is Abdi at 36.7%, granted with the injury. Those that played a lot. Next would be Nate Johnson at 35.7%. And then I'd hate to dunk on it, but the bottom, Doran Buka, 25%, Taj Manning, 17.6%, CJ Jones, 16.7% from three in conference play. So there you go.
Hey, Buka in his, 3 minutes tonight got one off at least.
He did. It looked good too.
Taj Manning also got one off, which,
Yes.
I get it, so you're in the flow of the game. I'm a big believer of you have to take certain shots to keep the offense moving, whatever. Certain guys do not have to take that shot. Taj is one of those guys. We give him a lot of credit for the things that he does well. That's the one thing that I'm like, let's rein it in, big dog. I guess we do probably, and then we can hit real quick on some of the coaching search updates for people on the way out. The Castillo 2 for 10 night with 4 turnovers. He foul happy again as well. It's just unfortunate that this seems like it's not going to work out, and it's pretty clear at this point that he's not going to be somebody that's valued by the next coach to keep around unless it's 100% on K-State's terms, probably at reduced rev share point or a lot of things that probably make it not worth it for David Castillo to return unless he really wants to be at K-State and believes the next coach can get the best out of him.
Yeah, his offensive rating now in conference play is down to 85.4. It is funny because we talked about CJ hitting those 2 threes. And his offensive rating in conference play only actually went down to 75 from 76. It's like it really kind of is that kind of year for CJ Jones. He is now at 20.6% fan on the season from three.
Hovering, he's neck and neck with Frank Richards.
But yeah, it really is unfortunate for Castillo. Undersized guard that can't really do anything well. Like he's not a good defender. He's not a good shooter. In conference play only, like I said, he has the 4th worst offensive rating on the team and has played the most minutes of all of those guys. Like Marcus Johnson has played like 10% of the possible minutes in conference play. And his offensive rating is one that is a little bit worse than Castillo. Like that is a genuine problem.
And that Utah game is probably doing a lot of heavy lifting I would imagine, in those numbers, because he was insane in that game, and we thought, hey, maybe it's back, and it wasn't. Turns out Utah's probably just a mid-major team disguised as a Power 5 team. Ron said, well, Kostic to Illinois next year. Ron, let's not play like that right now. Let's hold out some hope. But you are right. You are right. That would seem to be a possibility if he was interested in that, because Illinois is going to lose some talented players after this year, which would open up a spot there. So
I don't know, and this is me kind of projecting a little bit. I would think that it's probably more likely that Kostic goes back to Europe and just stays at the pro level than
that's
plays
what my
at another
thought is.
college.
Yeah, that's what my thought is. I think after you experience this, and if you're not going to stay, or like you think it's going to help elevate you, you may just go back. But like, again, Brad Underwood might be the one guy that can kind of sell that vision of, hey, what you thought you were going to get at K-State, we can give to you this year at Illinois. So that it'll be interesting to follow, but it's clear that I would like to see him back. All right, K-State coaching search update as we get ready to close things out here. I did see the comment from Nick about throwing Bruce Pearl out there. I think that's a no-go right now. Bruce is a little too into his commentary days at this point, whether it is trying to claim that he's not fighting for his son on national TV, but really he is fighting for his son on national TV and really only caring about that. And then also just Bruce Pearl, I think, wants to focus on his political career that isn't going to run into running for office, which I just don't think you want as your head coach. He's also aging at this point.
I don't want a coach that quit 2 days before the first practice of the season to give the job to his son.
Yeah.
Who has been awful.
Yeah, I mean, Bill's lifelong dream was to hire Sean Snyder, and he didn't even do that, So what are you going to do there? But yeah, no, Bruce Pearl, probably not a thing at this point. But it does seem like not only is Jared Calhoun one of, if not the top option for K-State, which I think we're all in support of, K-State seems to be very much reinvigorated in the Josh Shirt sweepstakes. So I don't know if that has to do with maybe some jobs won't come open, or more than likely, K-State has probably made some very good pitches to Josh Shirts to where he has an understanding. I know a lot of people have pointed out, like, hey, this guy has deeper ties back in the day to the East Coast, but you could sell your best success has come in the Midwest. And then Casey Alexander at Belmont was the third name that Pete Nakos, our national reporter at On3, threw out today. Those seem like maybe the three that have the most interest. None of them have been Power 5 head coaches before. If you're looking for that Power 5 experience, it does seem like Chris Mack is still hanging on and around out there somewhere, which I think K-State could do a lot worse if you need to get to your fourth or fifth option. But I'm starting to grow more and more confident by the day that K-State not only is going to get one of those top three options, but I think they're going to get one of the 1A or 1B in Calhoun or Shirts, just because of what I think K-State can sell to them, how it seems like K-State might be doing in that regard, and then also the fact that you look around, and I don't think some of the jobs that people imagine were going to open up are actually going to be there, especially some of those like Cincinnati and Ohio State teams that are picking up major wins down the stretch that likely save the jobs of Wes Miller and Jake Diebler.
We've talked about this a few times too throughout this process. I've talked about how I don't know how many jobs will actually become open, because this is not a good cycle to be hiring. Like, let's be real. Outside of the top three options, if you want to count Alan Huss, you're really kind of talking yourself into it a little bit about what each candidate can bring to the table. And that's why, like, Casey Alexander is a fine third. He wouldn't necessarily be like somebody that I'd jump up and down and be like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. But he would be a very solid third. Calhoun would be awesome. Shirts would be awesome. It would be good just to have like new life and new blood into the program. I think everybody is very excited for this new era when it comes to fruition. And everybody will be very excited about the opening press conference and seeing how the new coach speaks and what they want to bring to the table at K-State.
Yeah, I think what you guys have mentioned is right. I think I mentioned the last time when we talked about coaches after the last live I was on after a game. Being out first is good because you get to get the attention of these guys and sell it. And the other thing is K-State gets to put the attention on two guys at once. If both those guys, if both Schertz and Calhoun are interested, you can play that and say, hey, we need you to make a decision, not a decision right now, but we need to know what your interest is. And you can play those two a little bit off each other if they're both interested in K-State, which gives us an advantage over everybody else because they've got to wait to start doing that. And then I'm sure any smart AD that is thinking about getting rid of his coach is already doing that a little bit behind the scenes as well. But K-State's out in front of that. And Schertz, the news of Schertz being in the running is just his offensive profile. They're number one in the country in three-point percentage, and they're number one in the country in average two-point attempt distance, which is a new stat from Ken Palm, which just shows you that all their shots are either at the rim or they're threes. 45% of their shots are threes, and they're the best in the country at making threes. Like, it doesn't get much better than that to me. And then they're still solid at offensive rebounding, top 120 in the country. So those are all things that I think make for an awesome profile for your coach. I like the other guys too, but Schertz is definitely the top of my list as far as when I look at what he does offensively.
Yeah, they're Tex Catbacker. He appears to be a Schertz denier in the chat. And here's what I would say is I don't think nationally the coaching searches are going to be postured as Josh Schertz is the number one option. And I think a lot of that has to do, there's some great marketing there with the fact that he was already getting attention at Indiana State because of the Robbie Avila stuff. And so there's a little bit more of a name notoriety. And, St. Louis was in the trenches of some not good times after Travis Ford was booted from there. And he's built them into this, and the offense is impressive and everything. Jared Calhoun's not going to get as much love because he takes over at Utah State, where everybody kind of keeps that bus moving. But I don't think you're wrong if you're of the opinion out there that you would rather have Jared Calhoun or maybe one of the other guys that's in this top 3-4 mix. Like, I think you can make a reasonable case for that. And we know certainly there's no home runs in hiring coaches out there. You can think you've done it, and it can be maybe the worst move that you've ever made. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how this plays out for K-State. But at the very least, even if you're not a Schertz fan, he's clearly going to be the top dog in the coaching markets this offseason. K-State at this stage, a few weeks in, after initially we didn't think that might be an option, them becoming such a legitimate player there, it means they're doing something right with not just what they're able to present, but the fact that getting into the coaching search this early is going to give them a leg up with whoever they end up landing, just like Fan just said. So I'll be interested to see what happens there.
I also don't think that Schertz is like head and shoulders above everybody else. Like, I think that they're all kind of on even footing. Like, if this was next year and Schertz was still around and was having a lot of success at St. Louis, like, he probably would be head and shoulders above where everybody else is. But everybody's kind of the same right now. I just saw somebody mention Jacques Vaughn. That would be an absolutely not. And it's not even like the KU stuff. It's the one time he was a head coach. He was in the NBA, and he was awful.
You can't hold the Brooklyn Nets against Jacques Vaughn.
I am.
You can't. I mean,
can I fold if Arizona State beats KU in a game that Jacques Vaughn is coaching?
I mean, Bill handed him a 20-point deficit. Like, what do you want from the guy here? He's basically won the game since he started coaching.
They were down 7 when Bill Self was ejected. He has actually been down 2 since he started coaching. Now he's down 5 since he started coaching.
I don't think you can put this on. I look, I'm not trying to defend the KU guy, but I'm just saying you can't put things on Jacques Vaughn. He had to coach the Orlando Magic after they got rid of Dwight Howard, and then he ended up in Brooklyn and had just the ultimate clown show of an organization there. So I don't hold NBA stuff against guys. But yeah, he took that job at KU to be the guy. Like that, if anybody can't see that he's going to be the next coach after Bill Self, like why would he leave an NBA bench, even as an assistant, to go back to college? Like the former player, he's coming home to be the guy there, whether it's after this year or 3 years from now. But Jacques Vaughn's going to be the head coach at KU, and nothing is going to pull him away from that, I would imagine. If anything, he ends up cutting a deal with KU's athletic department and says, hey, if this is going to be a while for Bill, I'm just going to go collect checks on the bench in the NBA and call me when he's done, and I'll be happy to come back and be your head coach.
You're not wrong. I still think it would take some convincing if I was them to like want that to be the guy. I'll ask Fan a question in this, and this isn't even about the coaching search. This is just about like what, because this is kind of like saving Wes Miller's job right now, which would help K-State potentially get Jared Calhoun. If Cincinnati beats BYU by 20 plus, like how close does that get them to making the tournament?
It gets them closer. I pointed out, looking at the metrics, Cincinnati's average in the resume metrics was in the 60s, and I think they had 2 or 3 quad 1 wins. You want to have at least 4 quad 1 wins, and if not 5. And sometimes they'll look at quad 1 and 2 combined, and you like that to be 9 or 10. But that resume metric has become the thing, the WAB, SR, strength of record, and the Kevin KPI one are the ones to really look at for selection. And if those are in the 60s, you're still treading pretty high. But if this win will get them probably into the 50s, and then if they can get those resume metrics into the 40s, they'll be in pretty good shape. And this is the big win. To get this one would be huge. And then I can't remember who they're playing their last game, but if they can
at TCU.
The 2 hottest teams in the league.
By the way, moment of silence for the streak. First time in 14 seasons in the Big 12. With TCU's upset at Texas Tech tonight, they will finish above 500 in Big 12 play. So it only took them 14 years, but their transition to becoming a Big 12 basketball program is complete. And Jamie Dixon, immortal down there, he lives to see another year in Fort Worth.
He's very safe, yeah. So that's what I'd say is I think Cincinnati's definitely helping their cause tonight, but they probably almost have to go win that TCU game too. I don't know. It's going to be tough. If they lose that game, they probably have to win at least 2 in Kansas City, maybe 3.
Likely opponents in Kansas City right now, they will probably play West Virginia on day 2. I would imagine.
Not much.
And then they would get Arizona in the quarterfinals
that would help them a lot
now. So that would be significant. I doubt that happens though, unless Tommy Lloyd just says, hey, we're backing out of this. Hey, real quick, Jamie Dixon, is he the Pete Hughes of Big 12 basketball?
he might be. That's a good call.
Raised the floor to a level to be just so maddening for fans, but he's good enough, to get him into places that they really don't belong. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, and they beat Florida this year. They beat Iowa State.
They almost beat Michigan.
They
beat
the Texas
second game of the season.
Yeah, they almost beat Michigan. Lost at KU in overtime. So yeah,
in a game that they should have won.
Yes.
Yeah. So all right, that will wrap it up for today. We will be back. Yeah, Ron wants Eric Olin from New Mexico. Again, I don't think that's a bad answer. That just seems to be one that's not in the picture right now. And I don't think it's anything wrong with him. I just think that there are some other guys that have popped up for K-State that they're going to be able to get. And then probably the intel on him is that he's interested in something staying out west just because of all the success for a decade plus at UC San Diego, and then obviously having a good time at New Mexico this season. So we'll see what happens there. But K-State gets the win tonight over West Virginia. They get their 3rd Big 12 win of the season. We'll be in Lawrence on Saturday, so we will be live after that one. Looks like K-State likely going to face BYU Tuesday night, 6 o'clock in Kansas City in the first day of the Big 12 tournament. We'll be live after each of the first couple of days in Kansas City. That's the plan right now. Make a real event out of it. Have some fun with
First 3 days.
Big
I'm
12
bullying
tournament.
you into staying for 3.
I'm going to have to give you my wife's phone number, and you're going to have to talk to her about that. I had a less than encouraging conversation with her last night, so I do not feel good. Drew, I need you to go give a pep talk to K-State and tell them to win those games, win a couple for Mason, so he can stay and have fun at the Big 12 tournament instead of go home and be the good father and good husband that Jerome Tang would want me to be. So maybe if I had Jerome Tang as a coach at some point in my life, I would make those choices, but I am a little selfish when it comes to Big 12 tournament week. Anyways, Drew and I will be here tomorrow. We've got stuff to talk football-wise. Mike Schmidt and Buddy Wyatt, the 2 line coaches, offensive and defensive, they talked earlier today, so we'll recap that. We've got some other football stuff we'll dive into, and we'll probably hit the coaching search stuff a little harder tomorrow to kind of set the stage for the rest of the regular season, and we probably won't hit on it until probably after Selection Sunday. So there you go. That's what it looks like in the near future, and then a little KSO road trip. The Hawk haters are sick because it's coming on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we'll see all 0 of you in Lawrence. But again, if any of you are in that building,
I've never seen K-State lose to KU in Lawrence, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm 100%.
Tom, first 5 to find me on Saturday in Allen Fieldhouse, wearing K-State purple, hot dog on me. So there you go. I'm so confident I won't see any of you. I'm not even bringing cash. So you're just going to have to, hope for the best. All right. For Drew Galloway, KSU fan, I'm Mason Voth. Thanks for watching and listening to KSO Postgame Live. We'll talk to you tomorrow.